Hello, everybody, and welcome to a bonus episode of Bottled Up, a wine podcast, sort of.
Bonus!
I am your bonus host, Sean Linehan, and I'm here with the other bonus host,
Jenn Waring. Yes, yeah, although we're also the regular hosts.
Yeah. If you have extra tickets, you can get us as your bonus host.
It's just amazing.
Yeah,
it really...
Work the skee ball machine right.
You get the regular prize and the bonus prize, but it's all the same prize. But you're still supposed to be excited. That's how we
because the main point is we're a prize.
That's it. We are a prize.
We're
a pair of prizes. Well, yeah, welcome to our bonus episode. I'm still sipping, I'm sure everybody's already listened to last week's Pinot Grigio episode.
I certainly hope so.
And I'm still sipping the Zio Baffa that we were having before, which is what inspired this little bonus.
Yeah.
We wanted to share.
That delicious Zio Baffa Pinot Grigio, which you might remember, we talked about being bright and, very, very evident of the terroir of Sicily, but just also a great wine supplied to us by our sponsor, WineArt down in Astoria. Yep. But also their big thing, and on their website and on their labels and stuff, was about how they are an organic and sustainable wine.
And so some of you may recall our love of their cork as well, which
that double helix cork, man,
part of their sustainable practices. But if you we wanted to take a bonus episode sized dive into what is essentially a ginormous pool, guys. Like I have in front of me that you can't see, but we'll certainly share just a tiny slice of the varying stickers that could be on the label. There's USDA organic, there's made with organics grape, there's biodiverse, there's live certified sustainable. I don't know what's alive, but okay. There's sustainable practices. There's just
so many qualifications.
Made with organic grapes, which is technically Zio Baffa's qualification. Yes. And Sean, it's because sulfites are not organic. Do I have that right?
Sulfites are not organic, although sulfites are produced organically. Celery has sulfites. Chickpeas have sulfites.
Jesus, there is nothing I hate more than finally dipping a nice stalk of celery into some Marie's blue cheese, and all you can taste is the stupid sulfites.
Sulfites. You get that sulfite headache immediately.
Oh, it's the worst. Yeah, damn you, celery.
No, you know who gets that? People who do yoga and then drink Skinny Girl Chardonnay, like they get sulfite headaches. No, they don't. They just drank a bottle of Chardonnay.
From me.
That's why they have a headache.
Why does your head hurt? Because I slapped you.
Oh. Because I slapped you with your yoga mat.
Yeah.
Yoga is a good, healthy practice, and not knocking it, especially during these dark times. Self-care is important.
It is. I just bought a new keychain, kids. I'm calling that self-care because I don't do yoga.
It's gorgeous, by the way. I love
Thank
the flowers.
you. Isn't it cute?
Yeah, beautiful.
Cute new key. Listen, resin. Your self-care is your self-care, kids. You do you. I will not do yoga.
I'm pretty sure my self-care is at the bottom of this glass, and my husband will tell you that's a lie. Anyway,
yes.
But yeah, sulfites, not organic, and they are a thing winemakers use to preserve wine and to stop fermentation, to make sure like you're not getting funky, gross. We talked about wine faults in previous episodes. You're not getting those I can stutter. But those cardboardy tastes, wet, damp cardboard, wet sheep's wool. You don't want those gross things.
There has never been a time that I have thought to myself, you know what I want on my pizza? Wet, damp cardboard and wet sheep's wool.
Like grandma's basement. But it's just, it's one of those things that's used in winemaking and has been forever. This isn't a new thing. This isn't modern intervention. This is a winemaking practice. If you are absolutely super concerned about it, go to the natural wine movement. Go to your pet nats, your natural wines, your limited or minimal intervention wines, and you'll taste more of those funky natural flavors that come when you let the yeast do what yeast is going to do.
And any of us that embraced bread making as part of our self-care during these trying times have smelled what yeasties do and may or may not want to drink it. That's just me.
Has either Counter Monster or Fridge Monster out there? Like, I know I've got mine, Stanley the starter, lives in a jar.
Stanley's a good name
Yeah.
for a starter.
It's a good one.
I
It's
just noticed that
alliterative.
one of my cactuses made a baby. So I also assume, since the cactus is more productive than I am, that there's also a manuscript and a sourdough starter somewhere in the pot, because
Somewhere in the, yeah.
she's been busy. But organic is important to most of us. But also, maybe more so, and particularly in the case of wine, that some vineyards have been around for hundreds of years. To treat that soil completely, to call it organic, would upset a lot of the balance. So the idea that a lot of vineyards are working sustainably, and that was one of the things we loved about the Zio Baffa. While it's great that the grapes are organic, so they're practicing organics, like,
Right,
your friends that are
on your grapes
practicing Wicca, you know what I mean? Like, they know a little bit, but they're not going to like turn you into a frog. That's how my understanding of it anyway. But so the sustainability qualities that winemakers, the steps that they can take, using recyclable glass, practicing sustainable shipping processes,
using recycled paper for your labels, natural inks, the double helix cork that we saw with Zio Baffa, so you can reuse that bottle over and over again.
But also the cork only comes from the bark of the tree, not the whole tree. So the tree itself then can sustainably carry on with itself. So those things are great and a good thing to look for in your wine.
And part of sustainability would also be water management. So when you're growing grapes, you typically want to grow grapes in places that are not great for other agriculture, because you want the vine to be stressed. A stressed vine creates better wine grapes. Not necessarily table grapes or your jelly or your Welch's grapefruit juice cocktail, but for wine grapes,
good jelly.
You want those vines, we like to call them wine trees. We want them to struggle and to have a hard time. That way they're not just putting out tons of fruit and then all your flavors, your acids and phenolic compounds are diluted and your wine doesn't taste like anything. So you're often growing in arid, dry, kind of unhospitable environments. So you have to do some irrigation and water management, and finding a way to reuse your water, to have rain collection, use gray water rather than like some of these big box wines are Yellowtails or Barefoots and things like that, which are just pumping in mass irrigation systems.
Yeah.
And, that they're creating a very specific type of wine that's very consumer friendly, very wallet friendly, but it's not very environmentally friendly.
Well, they're certainly not saving money on their commercials. Have you seen that new Hello Yellow commercial? I want to punch that chick right in the face.
I don't think I've seen a commercial in 2 years. So.
Oh, well, it comes on the Hulu. Like
okay.
as we discussed, it's it's the bonus episode, but I'm still on SVU, kids. So, I'm on season 42 now. But the Hulu often shows like one commercial, but then you get that same commercial for like a whole season. So the commercial du jour for the last couple days has been this hello yellow, hello yellow, and it's sort of sing-songy, but she's sort of Australian, sort of can't sing, and then all of a sudden there's just a bunch of Yellowtail bottles, and I just have never wanted to clock someone with one more in my life.
Oof.
Than that commercial. So if the wine didn't make me hate it already. Anyway, so yes, sustainable water practices are good in your home. Yeah. You turn your tap off when you're brushing your teeth, right, kids?
Yeah.
You don't just run water endlessly for fun.
You've put a can of Campbell's soup in the tank of your toilet to take up space so there's less water every time you flush.
That's right? A good one. That's a good
Jen's
one.
Jen's looking at me like I've got tomato soup coming out my ears right now.
A little bit, but also where I thought you were going was that you don't use the water with the tomato. Like for some reason I don't know. Sometimes I decide, kids, what Sean's going to say long before he gets there. And so I thought you were going to say, yeah, and you take your can of Campbell's soup and you don't add that water to thin it out. And I was like, already prepared to be horrified at your soup eating practices, but put it in your toilet. That's different. That's different.
Displace water. So there's less water in the tank. You're flushing less water. It's good.
All these things make sense, kids, and you should do them. And so the same, it's very nice. Listen, there's not always huge organic or natural wine sections in every wine store.
That's true.
If you can find some good ones, ask your wine person. Why not?
Yeah, ask for organic wines. You might get pointed in the direction of something called biodynamic wines.
Which, wowzers.
Yeah, this is a can of worms that we at Bottled Up have unanimously agreed that we're not
We took a vote.
We will briefly describe it, but we're not going to go into its validity or any of the hooey around it.
It's not for us.
So the idea of biodynamic viticulture is that you are planting along and maintaining your vineyard along with the phases of the moon, and there's many steps and rules and things about planting sheep's horns into the vineyards, and there's a lot of kind of mysticism about it, and people will swear up and down it delivers better wines, and the full moon is when you pick the grapes, and that's when they're their best. And that may be true, it may not. I'm not going to go into that, but what I will say is that if you are a winemaker who's taking the time to follow all these many, many steps to be a biodynamic wine, you're generally paying really close attention to your grapes. So your wine is probably, yeah,
yes.
You're taking care of the land and you're paying attention. So you're probably creating a good product. I will not say that because you have a ram's horn buried under every third vine and you pick during the full moon, that your wine will magically heal warts in between toes. I'm not going to say that.
I think it's a better use for a ram's horn than, say, somebody who's going to put it on their head and invade the Capitol. So
yes.
If we all make choices with our ram's horns. I myself have a set of antlers in my closet, but that came from a deer my dad shot. That sometimes I think about burying with my tomatoes here in Astoria.
I hear it's really good for heirlooms,
but I don't do it because also I'm very lazy and it's in the back of the closet. And I'm not getting it out, and it's fine.
But shopping for organic wines is not a bad practice, and you shouldn't scoff at them. But you
No
also
scoffing.
shouldn't scoff at other wines that aren't necessarily using organic practices.
True.
More and more places are moving, especially with the classification systems like Chianti Classico, Bordeaux, to get into those AOCs, to those IGPs and things, which are the classification systems from different countries. You have to follow very strict rules, and a lot of that requires organic farming. Like, you're not allowed to use pesticides. You have to use like integrated pest management, which is like releasing ladybugs to eat the aphids and stuff like that, and kind of timing when the different pests show up in your vineyard. You release the pests that are beneficial to the vineyard, and you work in the harmonious circle of life, and Simba comes out and tells you this is a good Merlot.
You know what? There's nothing I like more than when I uncork a Merlot and there's just a hint, you get the wafts of the fruit and the bourbon, and then just a hint of like just a little, it just releases slowly out of the bottle, and it's nice. It's nice.
It's embracing.
It's embracing. Yes. It makes you feel warm and fuzzy and like your dad might die. Oh no, wait, that's different. Terrible movie. Well, listen, you can also do a little Googling, kids. And I love wine descriptions as much as I love anything. I love when they choose great words. And one of my favorite words to describe anything, well, one of them is bovine, but the other is jammy.
Love a jammy wine.
And while I've never tried this wine, I'm going to go find it and I will report back via the social medias. Monte Rio Cellars Skull red wine. It's from California. And it is described, it is an organic wine, and it's only $18 a bottle, according to this particular article. The wine is all things jammy red fruit, raspberries, and pepper. I love that description.
That's a great description. That sounds interesting.
Right?
What's the base grape? Does it say?
Yes, Petit Syrah.
Oh, Petit Syrah. Okay, that makes sense.
I like to pronounce it weirdly. It's 50% that, 30% mission. So really? Missionary position grapes. And then just grapes that do it, the old-fashioned way. And
Socks on, lights off, no talking.
No talking. And then Zinfandel is the
yep.
remaining.
So this is probably around Lodi, I'm guessing.
It doesn't say, but
it says California red.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So picked from all over California.
Yeah, could be anywhere in California. And it does suggest a serve chilled, which I always find interesting in a red.
That is interesting, especially with a Petit Syrah.
No, I like Petit Syrah. That's nice.
Jen was just taking a sip of her
that
Zio
was a bad
Baffa
idea.
Pinot Grigio,
Yeah.
and I thought I'd try and get that to come out her nose.
It was fun.
If you find yourself in Beacon, New York, cute little artsy town up the Hudson here, there's a fantastic wine shop called Dirty Bacchus. And they also did not pay me to say this or know that I'm saying it, but they specialize in organic and minimal intervention wines and natural wines. And he's got some really interesting stuff. And he handed me a bottle last time I was in there of Brooks Riesling, 2019 Willamette Valley Riesling. It is super, super bone dry. It tastes like green apples. It's a lot of fun.
Nice.
But completely, they're using biodynamic viticulture, but they're also trying to maintain a sustainable methodology. So they're really taking care of the land. The vineyard's only about 30 years old, and they're just trying to make sure it's going to be around for another 100 years. And it's really kind of exciting.
It's just really, I think it's good practice. And again, I'm not yucking anybody's yums, but it is great practice to support places and products that understand this is the only planet we got, you know? So like, there's so much that we learn about if we want to learn about from, factory farming and factory slaughtering and all the, and all the things that go wrong in those practices.
That we've been doing wrong for a long time.
That we might not be able to undo. And I have lots of relatives that are like, ugh, like my buying organic's going to matter. But it is.
It is.
And, organic or sustainable practices, those are really great. And I actually think somehow, although it's just through perhaps biodynamic ram's horn magic, stuff tastes a little better. If it's doing good.
Yeah, when you put the care into it, when you're not just spraying it with chemicals, but you're caring about it, it tastes better. So that, I think, is our little spiel.
Take a look. Google your goods. Everybody's got their favorite wine. No one should stop drinking them. We don't mean that at all. But take a Google and see if you can support something that's doing good too. And maybe you'll love it even more. Maybe you'll describe it as jammy and
and you'll get those pepper notes and green grass and melons.
Yeah.
But also you might go down the rabbit hole and you might learn some things like in Bordeaux in France, where everything is very strictly controlled about the kind of grapes that can even be grown. They just allowed 6 new grapes because they're looking to the future and climate change.
And you know what? France doesn't often look to the future. No, I'm just kidding.
They don't.
They allow smoking at Disney World, kids. So this is huge.
Monsieur Rodin, he's smoking a gawa.
Yeah. It's one of the funnest thing I noticed when I went to that Disney. I was like, wait, why is everyone smoking? This seems not okay. We're at a kid's place.
Mommy, I want a châtain.
But they also had beautiful meringues shaped like Mickey ears. And so, you win some, you lose some.
That's presh.
Pimento, or whatever is presh in French.
Le presh.
Okay, fair. I'm in. And that has been our episode on less sustainability.
Less sustainability. I'm going to drink this here Riesling. You drink your Pinot Grigio.
So excited.
Cheers, Jen.
Cheers,
listeners.
See you next time, kids.
See you next time. Bye. Thanks for tuning into this bonus episode of Bottled Up. We hope our quick trip into the world of organic, biodynamic, and sustainable viticulture inspired you to learn a bit more about the world of eco-friendly wines. Check out our website, bottleduppodcast.blog, for some links and more information on this important topic. Again, that's bottleduppodcast.blog. I want to take a moment to thank our sponsor for this week's episode, WineArt. WineArt is a fantastic boutique wine store here in Astoria, New York. Stop in to shop from their carefully curated selection and to view works of art from local artists on display there. You can also find them online at wineartnyc.com. If you enjoyed today's episode, please head over to your favorite podcast listening platform and like, rate, and subscribe. Those likes and subscribes are crucial to moving Bottled up the charts and helping grow our audience. While you're at it, head over to our YouTube channel. The link's in the show notes. There you can find our audio recordings of current and back episodes and eventually fun videos of Jen and I's shenanigans in wine stores, on the road, and just generally drinking. As always, if you have questions, comments, are interested in sponsoring an episode, or just want to chat, you can find us on social media. We're on Facebook at Bottled Up Podcast, all one word, or Instagram at bottled_up_podcast. We love to hear from you, so don't hesitate to reach out. Until next time, stay safe, stay warm, and drink up.